from high atop Hogback Mountain.
We're covering the Carolinas like never before with 100,000 watts of power. It's the right talk.
Charlie?
Welcome. This is the Charlie James Show.
Now we're talking.
News Talk 98.9.
WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Welcome to your, good Lord, what a rainy, dreary, I thought yesterday was bad. Today, even worse with the weather, just bluck. That's the only way we can describe it. That should be when you turn on the news and tonight, all the weather people just say, today's weather was just bluck. And that's what it is. But welcome to the program. Glad to have you along with us this afternoon. Thanks to everybody that's streaming in. We really appreciate you being on there, streaming on Twitter, on Facebook, on Rumble, on YouTube. I do believe all of those are the platforms in various locations in each of those. So, a lot of times when we talk about certain issues on this program, they may seem like these are issues that are 1,000 miles away. It may sound like these issues are something that, are only affecting people in Portland or affecting people in Minneapolis or, somewhere, but certainly not here in South Carolina. I mean, we've got our little issues here, but certainly it's not that bad, especially when we talk about gender ideology. But it is that bad. And it's closer to home than you think. There's a family outside of Anderson, Gil and Gabriella Reed. They got a 48-acre farm there. They grow rye, clover, Bermuda grass for feed. They raise chicken, sheep, things like that. Sounds like a good lifestyle to me. Quiet lifestyle. It was back in the fall of 2022 that the Reeds discovered that their 17-year-old daughter wanted to transition to a boy. And she left home. For about 4 months, the Reeds didn't know she was living with the family of one of her high school teachers. Let's think about that for a second. This young girl left home and is living with the family of one of her teachers. And the teacher did not tell the parents where the child was. So they asked to see, over there in Anderson School District 2, they asked for the school district to see her daughter's mental health records. And they were told no, citing privacy laws. Okay. Meanwhile, the Reeds were facing 2 neglect investigations brought on by complaints from their daughter and the teacher's family with whom she was staying. Now, what did that do? Instead of them now being proactive in looking for their daughter and trying to do their best to help their daughter, now they've got to go on the defensive and defend themselves. Okay? State documents provided by the parents show that they were cleared of any wrongdoing. But it left the Reeds feeling that the entire system, from the schools, the social services, the law, had all been weaponized against them. Now, we have been seeing this time and time again. Time and time again. I want to play for you this clip from Jeffrey Marsh. We played it several times. Here's Jeffrey Marsh, trans activist. Let's hear what he says.
I hope you need to hear this today. Let them lose you.
Mm-hmm.
They have had enough chances to have a beautiful, brilliant, sparkling, giving person like you in their lives. Let them lose you.
Let them lose you. The family that raised you, the family that loved you, the family that nurtured you, the family that protected you, let them lose you. Well, if the family loses them, who's going to take care of them? Oh, Jeffrey Marsh.
If you do not have a family that loves you, I'm going to be your family.
I'm going to be your family. So that's in effect what this teacher's family was saying, that knew where this young girl was and did not tell the family. Oh, if your parents don't support you, we will. We will. Unbelievable. So this young girl was using chest binders, all of that. And by the way, let me ask you something. I mean, do schools issue chest binders? Are they something that they keep, on hand just in case? Is that what I'm hearing? Is that a thing these days? Maybe so. Maybe so. I don't know. Somebody let me know. So they tried to find out where their daughter was. The police looked for her, found her, brought her home, but would not tell the family where she had been. Where she had been. I mean, it is so frustrating. It is, it's more than frustrating. It should be criminal. So now we've got teachers here in South Carolina that are willing to help your children undergo transition, right? Yeah. So things really started getting out of control back in 2022 of September 2022, when the daughter told the Reeds that she wanted to be a boy. So they found out that her daughter was wearing a chest binder to flatten her shape. So they tried talking to the daughter, telling her God created you a girl. But the teen argued that she had the right to be a boy if that's how she felt. And she had been talking to someone at school about it. So the Reeds said, listen, we're not going to go along with this. We're not going to go along with this. They allowed the daughter to speak to the family doctor about her gender dysphoria, they said, but the girl grew angry when the doctor didn't affirm what she said, and she went missing in October of 2022. Gabriella thought that her daughter had come home on the bus, she said, but she quickly realized the girl wasn't in the house. They called the sheriff's office. Lennox May, who was home after commuting from college, the other daughter, suggested some places that the deputies could check. So they found her and wouldn't tell her, the police wouldn't tell the parents where she was. And they're right. The system is stacked against parents. The system is stacked. So they got a visit from a social worker where they felt attacked and at a significant disadvantage. We're a little bit afraid, to be honest with you, that we're somehow about to be roped into a situation where we're going to be blamed for something that we hadn't done and have her just taken away from us completely, they said. They didn't want to have to keep calling the sheriff's deputies to bring their daughter home, but they never gave permission for her to stay with anyone, and they never gave up their parental rights, they said. About 4 months later, February 14th, Gil Reed received a text message from a number of a person he didn't recognize. The message was asking permission to get medical treatment for his daughter. He didn't respond and still hadn't confirmed where his daughter was staying. So, that same day, after Gil didn't respond, a social worker showed up and accused the parents of neglecting their daughter's medical needs. A document from the South Carolina Department of Social Services showed that the complaint of neglecting their daughter's medical needs was investigated and classified as unfounded. While cleaning her daughter's room, Gabriella Reed found class excusal slips with the teachers' names. The slips indicated that the teen had been meeting with the teacher at school before moving into the teacher's home. There you go. It's right here. It's right here in our backyard. And who is doing something about it? That's what I want to know. Where are our where are the people that make the laws? Where are they? Why are they not standing up and screaming about this? 292 wants to know how this is not kidnapping. Well, if nothing else, how is it not contributing to the delinquency of a minor? I'm telling you, it's horrible. Charlie, if schools have enough money to give chest binders, then the schools have too much money. Oh, I agree with that. Yeah. So, that's where we are. That's where we are. Anyway, Charlie, like I said yesterday, this marsh freak sounds like a cult leader. Well, that's exactly what it is. It's a cult. It is a cult. When we get back, North Carolina, they're doing something up there. Some college professors have gotten together, and there's something they don't want your children to learn in college. We'll tell you what that's all about coming up next. This is the Charlie James Show, News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
1307.
Powered by Common Sense Retirement Planning.
Be a part of the Charlie James Show.
News Talk 98.9.
WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
My wife had to do a little work today up in Mooresville, and she called me a little while ago, and she said, I got you the entire way to Mooresville. She was picking up 98.9 WORD all that way. I love to hear that. So you folks up there in North Carolina, you need to listen up because this affects you. On Tuesday, there was an open letter that was circulated that had hundreds of North Carolina professors. We're talking about 673 North Carolina professors declaring their opposition to any requirements that students learn about the United States government and its founding documents. That's right. 673 professors from the University of North Carolina, UNC Chapel Hill, signed a letter as legislation works its way through the North Carolina legislature that would mandate the teachings of such courses. The professors claimed that such a law would violate the school's academic freedom. They'll violate us. We will be violated. House Bill 96, the first bill on the subject, will require all public university students to take a 3-credit course that focuses on the history of America and its founding. The course would include such required reading as the Declaration of Independence, the United States Constitution, no less than 5 essays from the Federalist Papers, the Emancipation Proclamation, the Gettysburg Address, and Martin Luther King's letter from Birmingham jail. The second piece of legislation that has drawn the professors' collective ire is HB 715, which would eliminate tenure to all UNC-affiliated campuses, as well as establish minimum class sizes and require all colleges to report all non-instructional research performed by higher education personnel at the institution. Basically, any research that is a big, giant waste of money, except to the pocket of the professors. So the first bill, the professors say, would violate core principles of academic freedom, and substitutes ideological force-feeding for the intellectual expertise of faculty, while the second one would attack a professor's expertise. Our leaders continue to disregard campus autonomy, attack the expertise and independence of world-class faculty, and seek to force students' educations into pre-approved ideological containers, the letter says. We must protect the principles of academic freedom and shared governance, which have long made UNC a leader in public education. If enacted, we believe that these measures will further damage the reputation of UNC and the state of North Carolina, and will likely bring critical scrutiny from accrediting agencies that know undue interference in university affairs when they see it. The only thing they're telling you to do is have a course on the United States founding documents. I mean, aren't there required? Isn't there a core curriculum? What other required courses does the University of North Carolina Chapel Hill have? When I was going to Augusta College, now Augusta State University, they had a required course. And you know what that course was? Everybody, before you graduated, you had to take this one course in particular. It was a graduation requirement. Tim, you want to guess what this course was? Guess what? I'll tell you what. It had nothing to do with knowledge, we'll say.
It was what?
It had nothing to do with academics.
Okay.
But you had
I missed that. Was it college?
Augusta State University,
Okay.
yes.
How about some kind of home ec class or something?
Oh, you're so close. You're
Okay.
so close. Swimming.
Swimming. Oh, okay.
You had to take a course in swimming. And the reason you had to take this course in swimming is because one of the college's big donors donated a whole bunch of money under the condition that everybody that graduated had to know how to swim. Good thing? Yeah. Requirement? No. 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 But you had to do it. And nobody wanted, I'll tell you, nobody wanted to take that class. Nobody
Colleges
did.
do that, though. They have a lot of classes that you don't really
It's stupid.
need.
It is absolutely stupid. But when you have a course that would teach kids about the founding here's what the UNC Chapel Hill do not want. They do not want an educated voting class. They do not want you to know about this country's founding documents. They don't want you to read the Federalist Papers. They don't want you to know about the Constitution because they can, you'll be brilliant in gender, early Mesopotamian gender studies. You'll know all about that. But when it comes to the Constitution, you're going to be clueless. Because if they keep you clueless about the Constitution, if they keep you clueless about this country's founding documents, then they can manipulate you all they want. Then they can control you. Then they can lie to you. Because that's the last thing you want is an educated electorate. That's why these 673 college professors are raising all kinds of hell about teaching the Federalist Papers, about maybe hearing about, I don't know, the Second Amendment, the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Bill of Rights in general. They don't want you to know that, because if you know that, well, then you would be dangerous to them. They just want to, you know what, it's like the Plato Fun Factory of education. They just want to get you in, get you out, get you in, get you out. And they want you as dumb as possible when you walk out with that little mortarboard on your head in your robe. They want you clueless. Because then their folks over on the left know that you're going to be pliable. You're going to be able to be manipulated because you are ignorant. I'll guarantee you, I'll guarantee you this. 99% of the liberals that I get into arguments with do not know how their government works. They have no clue. They have no clue about the Electoral College. They have no clue about, hell, they don't even know who their representatives are. They don't know who their state senator is. They don't know who their state representative is. Probably couldn't name any of the members of Congress from South Carolina. And that's the way the Democrats like it. That's what they love. Low information voters. That's what they want. We'll be right back. This is the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Let your voice be heard. Call the GS Plumbing Talk Line now. 800-050-989. Save it on your phone. That's 800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show, only on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
If you want to know more about that story that I told you at the beginning of the program today about that family in Anderson who was, you can only describe it as being a victim of our judicial system here in South Carolina, especially as it goes with young people transitioning, and how really families are totally helpless. They've got no allies right now. I got a message from Representative Alan Morgan. He says the Parental Bill of Rights, H 3485, was filed by members of the Freedom Caucus in January of this year and has been buried in the Judiciary Committee, he says, by the liberals who run the South Carolina House. If people want these sorts of problems solved, they need to call House members who sit on the Judiciary Committee. He's exactly right. So he's got a bill. The Freedom Caucus have a bill that would stop this crap like it's been affecting that family over in Anderson. So why isn't it important? Why isn't it? It should be. It should be extremely important for these folks. But apparently, it's not. And that's a darn shame. That is a darn shame. Because if our state legislature is not going to protect the kids in this state, who is? I mean, if it's legal for a 17-year-old girl to run away and live with the teacher's family, I just want you to think about that for a minute. And then the teacher feels, and I guess has, no responsibility to tell the family where this girl is living. I mean, tell me there's nothing wrong with that. You know there is something wrong with that, don't you? I mean, you know in your heart of hearts, even you liberals out there that are listening, you know there's something wrong with that. Right? You know there is. It is a darn shame. It is a darn shame. But we got to keep telling the truth. We got to keep telling the truth about this. We got to keep telling the truth about certain members of our state legislature that are, I mean, I don't understand them. You know what? I was so glad when Sandy Sin and several other members of our state Senate, and I don't know who did it. I wish I did so I could literally pat them on the back. They sent them little replica spines. I think we need to send them to all of our members of the House and Senate here in South Carolina. Just send them a little spine. Say, here you go. I notice you don't have one of your own. Maybe this will help. Put this on your desk and take a look at it every day. If you're not going to stand up for the kids, who is? Our education system? No, that's the Department of Social Services? No. Forget that ever happening. So you've got a bill before you, H 3485. Folks, you need to call your House Judiciary Committee. Let me try to get you the members of that. Let's see. South Carolina House Judiciary Committee. Let's give you some numbers. We've got Weston J. Newton is the chairman. John King, Justin Bamberg, Thomas Britton, Jason Elliott, Brandon Guffey, Patricia Hennigan, Matthew Lieber, Cody Mitchell, Robbie Robbins, Carla Schusler, Elizabeth Wetmore, Chris Wooten, Jay Jordan, William Bailey, Beth Bernstein, Ben Cannell, Val Guest, Rosalind Henderson Myers, Jeff Johnson, John McCravey, Travis Moore, Seth Rose, Ivory Thigpen, Will Wheeler. Those are the people you need to be calling and saying, listen, we've got a bill in the House that is going to protect children and give parents their rights here in South Carolina. And you guys are blocking it. Could you explain to us why that is? Could you explain to us why? I mean, apparently they're having a meeting as we speak. As we speak. Here's what I would love to see. I would love to see their phones blowing up while that meeting is going on. I would love for their folks to be saying, I don't know what's going on, but your phones are blowing up here in the office. Blow those phones up today. Our telephone patriots, get in action right now. All you got to do is go to scstatehouse.gov or search South Carolina House Judiciary Committee, and it'll bring up everybody there. And then you can click on their names, and there's their phone numbers. Oh, how about that? That's pretty awesome, isn't it? So pick up the phone and give them a call. Ask them about this bill that would give parents back their rights, because you should have them. Again, that's H3485. You telephone patriots. Tell them how you think. So, hey, Charlie, have you invited any of them to come on the air? All of them can come on the air every single day. Every single day. Charlie, supposedly my Senator Rex Rice voted to kill the constitutional carry bill. If so, he's toast, Jim and Easley. I don't know if it's dead. I don't know if constitutional carry is dead here in South Carolina, but it is certainly having trouble breathing. Because from what I heard yesterday, it was still stuck in committee, still in the judiciary, the Senate judiciary, and it was passed over. So what that means, I don't know. I don't know if they're planning on getting to it soon, but we have got now, 6 legislative days left before they go away? Or before this, anyway, I know, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. But we have got to hold these people accountable. Every single one of them. Doesn't matter if you like them or not. It matters if they like you. So pick up the phone, give them a call, let them know what you think about this bill. Tell them parents need to have rights here in South Carolina, and tell them about the story that I told you about that family in Anderson. Tell them about that and how, what a miscarriage of justice that is for this family, where a teacher could actively hide the location of a child that they are looking for and ask them if they agree with that. That would be interesting to see their comment, right? Yeah. Charlie, listeners need to call Ralph Norman's office and ask about his endorsement of Nikki Haley. I called earlier, and I think I was talking to a family member of Haley. So Nikki Haley, and we'll talk about this coming up in just a little bit, but Nikki Haley basically, as Ron DeSantis down in Florida, is trying to really stick it to Disney because of their woke gender ideology policies. Nikki Haley is defending, in my opinion, Disney, and actually offering for them to come here to South Carolina. That's interesting. When we get back, Fox News at 8 o'clock last night was beaten. I'll tell you who beat them. I think you can guess. It's the Charlie James Show, News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Common sense retirement planning. Text line.
Welcome to the Charlie James Show,
News Talk 98.9 WORD.
the voice of the Carolinas.
Let's go to the GS Plumbing Talk Line, 800-905-0989. We'll talk to Michael in Winsboro. Michael, welcome to the program. How you doing, buddy?
Thanks for your time.
Yes, sir.
Listen, the first time calling in, driving through the country, and heard your radio show, and just what you were talking about, the family from Anderson and the problems that they were facing, the parental rights being taken from them, and being supported, the rights of a parent being removed from a family and being supported by law enforcement principals. It's happening even more often than people are aware. I'm a registered nurse. My wife is a school teacher. A few years ago, our daughter, 16 years old, was in a private school. We were trying to get her the best education we could, and she's in a safe, loving home. It was going through changes and pressures, and it's tough being a kid. At no time was she in any kind of danger. She went to the principal at 16 years old and with a local family, and they plotted for her to run away at 17. Now, it's the day she turned 17, she ran away with the principal's help. She continued enrollment in the private school in Winsboro, Richard Wynn Academy, and this is against the mother. I'm a stepfather. My wife's got full custody and is the mom. And she said, absolutely do not continue my child in this school. If she's going to run away, I want to be a mom. I want to work this out. The school enrolled her in continued enrollment of the child. At 17 years old, they entered into this agreement. So there are no laws. The police wouldn't help. The principal of the school was in on her running away.
Wow.
And and we didn't know what to do. And you don't settle these things in the street like savages. We have legal systems. We have laws in place. Jury of my peers needs to review this. This is what I've supported my wife 100%. A jury needs to hear this. So we found an attorney. We use our savings to pay for this attorney, and the attorney got everything together, all the evidence, and filed it with the local court system. And it's typical system where the judges play golf with the attorneys for 40 years. But, so the judge said, well, this is new law in South Carolina. There's no precedence for this. This is so we're not going to see it. We don't have to see it. So we dug in some more of our savings and filed for an appeal to the next level court, the appellate court. We're just praying that this gets before a jury, so of men and women who will see that a 16-year-old doesn't plot with the principal and choose their own path. Yeah. That the parents have a right and responsibility to be parents. And the appellate court saw it. They said the same thing that the first court said. They said, well, this is new law. We don't want to see it. And now our attorneys are doing exhaustive searches on supporting court cases that our state bars our laws from or emulates laws from. I think Virginia is one. So right now we appealed that. The appellate court, every single time when you appeal their decision to review again, they say no. It is just a few days away from going to the state Supreme Court. So if our
unbelievable
once it's heard, and this is more savings, and just so people know that the school it was involved, and the board of trustees or the principal and other adults think it's okay to make parental decisions for a child. And we don't think it is. We think that normal people say, or we think normal people are going to say, hey, if I have a 16-year-old, you can't tell my child it's okay to have a surgery or to go to this school or that school. That's what our job is. And And I thought that we even had a legal responsibility
Yeah,
if
you
for our
do.
children. But
You do.
I want you and the listeners and the family in Anderson to know that the battle is here, and we're trying to do the best we can with this, and they're not alone. And I don't believe we're alone. I think there are more of us that common sense and legal rights of a parent. There are more of us.
From what I understand, there comes a certain age before you become a legal adult at the age of 18. Let's say it's 17. That child could run away, or that child could leave home. But if they wanted to come back, you have to let them. It's really the laws here in South Carolina. We got to do something about this. We have to have this parental bill that done that Alan Morgan was telling me about just a minute ago. H3485. I tell you what, Michael, I feel for you. Thank you so much for sharing your story this afternoon. Let's go to Grady in Fountain Inn. Grady, welcome to the program. How are you?
Doing good, Charlie. I got two quick ones.
Mhm.
The first thing is that laws are already in place if you sue for alienation of affection. You can take the people out that are luring your children away from you. And the other thing is that you need to notify people that when they're running their windshield wipers, they're supposed to have their lights on.
Yeah, I agree. I've always said that should be a thing. When your windshield wipers on, your lights come on.
It's state law.
Yeah, you're right.
State law.
It is state law. I just think when you turn them on, they should come on automatically. Grady, I appreciate you calling in, buddy. Thank you very much. So where's Alan Wilson on all of this? Where's the Attorney General? I mean, we're talking. So now we're talking about literally a form of human trafficking, are we not? Are we not? If a teacher or a teacher's family can lure your child away and you stay with them, how is that different from trafficking? Man, things are messed up right now. We'll be right back. This is the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
like never before with 100,000 watts of power. It's the right talk.
Charlie?
Welcome. This is the Charlie James Show.
Now we're talking.
News Talk 98.9,
WORD.
the voice of the Carolinas.
Well, last night at 8 o'clock, over on Fox News, I believe they had Brian Kilmeade. But over on Twitter, something else was happening, and this is what it was.
Good evening, it's Tucker Carlson. One of the first things you realize when you step outside the noise for a few days is how many genuinely nice people there are in this country. Kind and decent people, people who really care about what's true, and a bunch of hilarious people also, a lot of those. It's got to be the majority of the population, even now. So that's heartening. The other thing you notice when you take a little time off is how unbelievably stupid most of the debates you see on television are. They're completely irrelevant. They mean nothing. In 5 years, we won't even remember that we had them. Trust me, as someone who's participated. And yet at the same time, and this is the amazing thing, the undeniably big topics, the ones that will define our future, get virtually no discussion at all. War, civil liberties, emerging science, demographic change, corporate power, natural resources. When was the last time you heard a legitimate debate about any of those issues? It's been a long time. Debates like that are not permitted in American media. Both political parties and their donors have reached consensus on what benefits them, and they actively collude to shut down any conversation about it. Suddenly, the United States looks very much like a one-party state. That's a depressing realization, but it's not permanent. Our current orthodoxies won't last. They're brain dead. Nobody actually believes them. Hardly anyone's life is improved by them. This moment is too inherently ridiculous to continue, and so it won't. The people in charge know this. That's why they're hysterical and aggressive. They're afraid. They've given up persuasion. They're resorting to force. But it won't work. When honest people say what's true, calmly and without embarrassment, they become powerful. At the same time, the liars who've been trying to silence them shrink, and they become weaker. That's the iron law of the universe. True things prevail. Where can you still find Americans saying true things? There aren't many places left, but there are some, and that's enough. As long as you can hear the words, there is hope. See you soon.
See you soon. 2 minutes and 16 seconds. That got 18.3 million views. You heard me right. 18.3 million views. So, how did Fox News do last night? Well, it wasn't 18.3 million. I can guarantee you that. In fact, it was considerably less than simply last week, as Fox News has, distanced themselves from Tucker Carlson. So what are the ratings really looking like right now? Well, it was the second huge big day of losses for Fox News last night, 8 o'clock. In the 25-54 demographic, they got 149,000 viewers. 149,000. That's it. All told, total viewers 1,704,000 last night at 8 o'clock. So Sean Hannity got 163,000 in the 25-54 demographic and 2,063,000 overall. Now, that may sound like a lot, but when you compare it to simply the week before, it is a massive reduction. Last Tuesday, when Tucker was on the air at 8 o'clock, Fox News registered 481,000 viewers in the 25-54 demographic and 3,223,000 viewers total. That is a big reduction. And that is a big loss, not only for them at 8 o'clock, but also at 9 o'clock. And Sean Hannity's even taken a big hit on that. And the fact that Jesse Waters was not on his show last night kind of makes you wonder exactly what's going on over there at Fox. But good for them. Good for them. So meanwhile, Tucker Carlson, he's out there. He's living his best life. He's somebody asked him what he was. They said like, "Hey Tucker, what are you going to do?" He said, "I'm going to have appetizers and an entree tonight." Good for him. Good for him. Meanwhile, there is a producer named Abby Grossberg. She is suing Tucker Carlson. Well, should I say the Tucker Carlson show? All right. And this woman, Grossberg, she claims one of the horrible things that happened while she was at Fox News is when she got into the office, there were posters. There were posters of Nancy Pelosi in a bathing suit. And that's one of the reasons that that she's suing Tucker Carlson. However, guess what she hasn't done? She's never met Tucker Carlson. Lawyers for Abby Grossberg confirm that the former Fox News producer never actually met Tucker Carlson in person while working on his show. Like many on the Tucker Carlson Tonight staff, Abby never met Tucker in person because he taped his show from his personal studios in Maine and Florida. He did not visit Fox New York's headquarters during her time there. A statement confirms a recent report from a Fox News employee and complicates the story about Carlson, Grossberg, and the workplace environment and the show he hosted, as well as the lawsuit's alleged connection to Carlson's firing on Monday. Grossberg, who was head of bookings for the show from July of 2022 until she was placed on administrative leave in March of this year, alleges that Carlson encouraged a hostile and sexist workplace environment among his employees. Grossberg said she was subjected to bullying, anti-Semitic comments, and sexism by the staff working out of Fox's Manhattan office. But remember, she never met Tucker. Tucker and his executive producer, Justin Wells, who was also fired, we think, really were responsible for breaking me and making my life a living hell. Well, actually, what happened was she was about to be fired anyway because she was grossly incompetent at her job. Grossberg's lawyer says she was in contact with Carlson on a daily basis over text and email, and the two also spoke on the phone until she left the network. They suggest that since Carlson was not present in the New York office, the sexist environment was perpetrated at his direction by other employees who served as his eyes and ears. So there's Tucker Carlson pulling all the strings of sexism and anti-Semitism and yada, yada, yada. And we all know that's a bunch of BS, right? We all know that's a bunch of BS. So there you go. But meanwhile, Tucker's down there in Florida, living his life. And I love that segment that he put out on Twitter last night, which, by the way, beat Fox News by about 18-1. That's pretty significant. So when he says, "See you soon," we hope so, Tucker. We hope so. We'll be right back. This is the Charlie James Show, News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
1-800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show, only on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
We do have some breaking news this afternoon. There's been a major train derailment in Ferryville, Wisconsin. And you might be wondering why that is important, because several train cars have entered the Mississippi River. Some of them have been seen floating downstream. 4 people have been injured, and multiple emergency agencies are responding. Hazmat teams are responding to the scene in Ferryville, Wisconsin at this train crash to assess any potential hazards of the derailed cars. We do not know what these cars were carrying. We'll give you more details on that as they become available. Okay, Tim, I got a question for you. Are you ready?
Oh, yeah.
All right. How many, we'll say, what percentage of high school students identify as, let's see, trans, gay, bi, or questioning?
50%.
50%.
Yeah.
50% of high school students, you think it's that high?
Oh, yeah.
It's almost that high. It's 25%.
Yeah, that makes sense.
25%. Why do you think that is?
Because they've made it like it's this popular thing.
It's the cool thing now,
It's the
right?
cool thing
It's
to
the
be.
cool thing. Exactly
Yeah.
right. It was only 7%. No, I'm sorry. It was, that's double the number that it was just 7 years ago. Just 7 years ago. A new study from the CDC shows that a stunning 1 in 4 high school students identify as bisexual, gay, or other. That's, again, doubling the number from 7 years ago. The CDC most recent youth risk behavior surveillance survey, taken every 2 years, found that only 75.5% of high school students said they identified as heterosexual in 2021. Nearly 25%, on the other hand, say that identified as something other than straight, with 12% claiming they were bisexual, 4% said they were other, slightly more than 5% said they were questioning. Now, adults, it's only 7%. So you've got more high school students identifying as other than heterosexual than you do adults. Well, it's working. Because they're literally grooming this lifestyle. And if you don't believe me, all you got to do is look at the world's leading book publisher, HarperCollins. HarperCollins is flooding the children's section of popular stores like Target, Barnes & Noble, and Amazon with books filled with woke messages, transgender ideology, and other content aimed at indoctrinating kids as young as 3 years old. There's a book out there called If You're a Kid Like Gavin, The True Story of a Young Trans Activist. It is targeted at 4 to 8 years old, 4 to 8-year-old kids. The book's about a young trans activist and encourages children to question their gender identity. It normalizes questioning your identity by saying there are many kids out there, some just like Gavin Grimm, and they might even be you. What choices will you make? You can find that book for sale at Amazon and Barnes & Noble under kids' books. Then there's the book True, A Gender Identity, again, targeted at children 4 to 8 years old. This book tells kids that there are different ways to show and be who you are in this affirming photographic picture book that offers a celebratory and informative look at kids and their wide-ranging gender identities. You can also find this book at Amazon and Barnes & Noble under kids' books. How about this one? Peanut goes for the gold. That's right. Peanut. Oh, cute little guinea pig there. He's got a little streamer in his hand there. Peanut is a non-binary hamster, you see, who, and again, targeted at kids 4 to 8 years old. How about this? Red, a crayon story. This innocent-looking book by Michael Hall uses the power of analogy, analogy to encourage children 3 to 7 to question their gender identity while suggesting that parents may be wrong about how to raise their children. The book reads, Red has a bright red label, but he is in fact blue. His teacher tries to help him be red. Let's draw strawberries. His mother tries to help him be red by sending him out on a play date with a yellow classmate, but Red is miserable. He just can't be red, no matter how hard he tries. You can find this book at Amazon's and Barnes & Noble and Target in the book section. How about this one? Targeting Babies to 4-year-old. Bye Bye Binary. It's a book about a joyful baby who refuses to conform to the gender binary. You can find this at Amazon, Target, and Barnes & Noble under kids' books. How about that? How about this one? For you teens out there, Riley Weaver needs a date to the Gaybutante Ball. Oh, that sounds fun. How about this one? Transmogrify. 14 fantastical tales of trans magic. Transness is as varied and as colorful as magic can be. This book aimed at teenagers proclaims that as it tells 14 different stories alongside unforgettable characters who embody many different genders and expressions and experiences. You can find this book at Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Again. So it's working. What they're doing is working because now you've got 1 in 4 high school kids identifying as something else. Charlie, kids are easily influenced. Parenting is getting much harder, and they're not up to the task. Sad. Charlie, maybe if we all, listen to this. This is perfect. Maybe if we all just stop obsessing over this transgender issue, it'll go away quicker. How many of you guys believe if we ignore it, it'll go away? Anybody? Anybody? Pickens, you got Anderson, you believe it'll go away? Spartanburg, you think it's going to go away? No? You don't believe? No, no, not going to go away. Not going to go away. It's not going to go away unless you want to just, my goodness. You think this is like teeth? Ignore it and it'll go away? No, not at all. Charlie, so in a school of 1,000 kids, 250 of them don't know what they are? Yup. That's exactly what the CDC is saying. We'll be right back. This is the Charlie James Show, News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
307.
This is the Charlie James Show.
On News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Tim, you're feeling under the weather today, aren't you? I can tell.
Yeah, a little bit.
What's the matter? What's the matter with Tim? Him's got a cold. What's up?
Yeah, it's some kind of cold. Or I think it's actually allergies. It's just I'm having a bad reaction.
Is it seasonal type thing? Is it the grass pollen and all that? Because once it hits 60 degrees at night on average, that's when the grass really starts growing.
Yeah.
You see. So, and we're right there now. So, yards are starting to green up, starting to get some of that pollen in the air. You think that might be what it is?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Well, I got something that's going to make you feel better.
Okay.
I want you to think about fireflies.
Okay.
Aren't they the coolest things?
They are, man.
I mean, their butts light up.
I know.
How awesome is that?
It's really awesome.
When you were little, did you ever go out and catch fireflies and keep them in a jar?
What are you talking about? I do that now.
Do you wait till he's a kid? I love going for walks at night with Artie and Sophie. Not Sophie yet. She's not old enough. But like last year when we were walking Artie and the fireflies would be out. It's just so cool.
Yeah.
It's so cool to see.
Bailey tries to eat them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, their cheeks are glowing.
Yeah, and then you just hear that chomp. You know that chomp that they do.
the teeth clacking.
Yeah.
Artie and Sophie really, really, really want to eat a bee.
Yeah, so does Bailey. He's been trying to catch those too.
They haven't yet, thankfully, because I don't know if you've ever seen pictures of dogs that have eaten bees and gotten stung in the mouth, and their cheeks swell up so bad. I mean,
I've seen that.
You know the dogs are in pain, but doggone it, it's kind of cute. But anyway, here's something I would love to see. I have never gotten a chance to do this. Probably won't be able to do this year, but this is definitely a bucket list thing. The Great Smoky Mountains National Park has announced their dates for the world famous synchronous firefly display. Now, this is pretty awesome. It is one of Mother Nature's most incredible shows. So in this park, there are these things called Elkmont fireflies, and it's one of at least 19 species of fireflies that lives in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Each year in the spring, the fireflies put on a light display looking for a mate. Now, these are the only species in America whose individuals can synchronize their flashing light patterns. Think about that for a second. How awesome that is.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So this is if you're planning on going, I got some information for you here, because this is one of those things that, you got to see at least once, right? Absolutely. Oh, yeah. So this week, the park announced its plan to welcome visitors to see thousands of fireflies flash in unison, with a limited viewing event scheduled to take place at Elkmont from Sunday, June 4th through Sunday, June the 11th. A total of 960 vehicle reservations, that's 120 per night, are going to be issued through a lottery process. You can apply for a limited viewing opportunity through recreation.gov. The Photinus Carolinas, also known as the Elkmont Firefly, like I said, they put on this huge display. This year's application lottery opens tomorrow at 10 o'clock. That is tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning. You can start getting your application in for this lottery to go see the fireflies. It closes Monday, May 1st at 8 p.m. The results of the lottery will be made available on Thursday, May the 11th. Now, all lottery applicants will be charged a $1 application fee. Successful applicants will automatically be awarded parking passes and charged a $24 reservation fee. Applications are limited to one per household per season. So the competition is going to be pretty steep. So remember, that's tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning. Log on to, what was it, recreation.gov and get in for this lottery. Yeah, the Great Smoky Mountains Firefly Viewing Lottery. Oh, that's awesome. That's just something I would love to see. Have any of you guys ever seen this? You ever been there? That would be really neat. Charlie, there's one in South Carolina in the Congaree National Park. I think it's in May. Oh, I would love to check that out. Charlie, our dog eats carpenter bees anytime they're low enough she can snatch them. Wow. Let's see. Charlie, my dog likes to eat house flies. We call them sky raisins. We call bees and wasps spicy sky raisins. Luckily, she hasn't gotten hold of one of those yet. Charlie, bees are just spicy jelly beans to dogs. Charlie, you mean lightning bugs? Exactly right. Lightning bugs. That's what we always call them, too. Lightning bugs. I was just trying to be a little more adult by calling them fireflies. But yeah, they're lightning bugs. Absolutely. So, anybody out there ever seen this? Because it's got to be phenomenal. It really is. And then also, I got the Gaffney Peach Festival is also coming up. Do you believe that we're this close to all of these things happening? Like June is not far away. So we got the Gaffney Beach Festival, or Peach Festival, rather. Hey, Charlie, we live in Cleveland, South Carolina, near Table Rock State Park, and every May for about 2 weeks, we have blue fireflies that appear. They're mostly known in the DuPont State Forest of North Carolina, but they trickle down to our location as well. Very beautiful. I have never heard anything about a blue firefly. That's crazy. Huh. Charlie, and when you go, stop complaining about pollution as you drive 200 miles to see it. You got it. I will. But it'd be cool to see. It really would be. I mean, just fireflies in general out in your backyard are neat to see. Could you imagine just thousands of these things flashing all in synchronization? That's got to be pretty cool. So again, if you guys have ever experienced that, please let me know. What was it like? Was it cool? Would it be worth getting in on this lottery tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock at recreation.gov? I'd love to hear from you this afternoon. We'll be right back. Oh, when we get back, did Iran just commit an act of war against the United States? Could be. This is the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Now, 800-050-989. Save it on your phone. That's 800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show, only on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Would you consider piracy and hijacking an act of war? By golly jingos, I would. Well, Iran's Navy has seized a U.S.-bound oil tanker, Advantage Suite, in international waters in the Gulf of Oman. This is the 5th vessel they've hijacked in just 2 years. How long has Joe Biden been in office? Yeah. Iran's Navy seized a Marshall Islands flagged oil tanker in the Gulf of Oman, according to U.S. officials, the latest in a series of seizures amid greater tensions over Tehran's growing nuclear aspirations. Americans' own maritime military service made the revelation this morning while identifying the ship as the Advantage Suite. Officials have said that the vessel was heading to Houston before it was hijacked in international waters. The U.S. Navy said in a statement that the unlawful seizure was carried out by Iran's own naval branch. The vessel sent distress signals about 1:15 this afternoon while being taken in international waters just north of Oman's capital, Muscat. The boat disembarked from Kuwait on Monday, passed through the Persian Gulf the day before. The U.S. Navy fleet stationed in the area is now demanding the ship's immediate release, with it being the 5th commercial vessel unlawfully taken by Tehran in the past few years. Iran's actions are contrary to international law and disruptive to regular or regional security and stability, the military's branch's 5th Fleet said in a statement. Iran's government should immediately release the oil tanker, they added. Initially, the Navy had said Iran's paramilitary seized the vessel, but an American naval aircraft shortly thereafter confirmed Iran's Navy captured the ship. 5th Fleet spokesman, Commander Timothy Hawkins, clarified that to the Associated Press as the news of the seizure remained largely shrouded, with few details shared more than an hour later. A report from Iran's state-run news agency, IRNA, claimed it came after an unknown ship collided with an Iranian vessel last night in the Persian Gulf. Okay. So what's the Biden administration going to do about it? What are the odds on nothing? What are the odds on nothing is going to happen? Now, let me ask you this. What are the odds on something happening if Donald Trump were president? Oh yeah, it would be highly likely that Donald Trump would absolutely answer to this, because it's Joe Biden. Nothing is going to happen. No, Joe Biden's too busy asking little girls if they want to come into the White House on Take Your Children to Work Day.
Yes, baby.
What is it like in the White House?
Well, what's it like in the White House? Well, here, come here. You hang with me for a minute. And you don't want to go in the White House?
Not with you.
Okay, all right.
Not with you.
Okay.
The old perv? No. So that's a smart kid. That's a smart kid. What's it like in the White House? Here, I'll show you. Nah, I'm good. Nah, not going to do it. So that's your president, quote unquote, air quotes there, Joe Biden, inviting a young girl into the White House. Oh my goodness. That's the guy. That's the guy that nobody's afraid of. That's the guy that nobody is afraid of. So, had a press briefing. And in that press briefing, there was a list, because we know Joe Biden just doesn't call on anybody. Doesn't just call on anybody. So he had a list of reporters that were at the press briefing that he was to call on, and it even had a picture of them on it, so he couldn't get too confused. But not only did it have the reporter that he was going to be calling on, it also had the question that the reporter was going to ask. So remember, all of these press conferences that Joe Biden does, air quotes again, press conferences, they're not press conferences. They're scripted events. That's all they are. And the news media is more than willing to go along with it. He knows exactly what questions are going to be asked. He's got a little note card there with the reporter's picture on it, like I said, who they work with, and what questions they're going to ask. Now, what is Corinne Jean-Pierre? How does she respond to this?
The LA Times said that their reporter did not submit any questions in advance of yesterday's press conference. So to people who saw that pocket card, can you explain how that ended up there and why the president needed something like that?
So just to step back, and I'm actually glad you asked that question. Clearly, I would let the reporter for Los Angeles Times speak for herself. It is entirely normal for a president to be briefed on reporters who will be asking questions at a press conference and issues that we expect they might ask about. It is not surprising that yesterday we would anticipate questions that he did receive, right, on the visit with the South Korean president, as the South Korean president was standing to his right, or about 2024. That was completely expected. Or about the debt ceiling, which he took questions at the end, shouted questions at the end. And of course, we would note those issues to him, those issues to him will likely come up. And let's not forget, we do these briefings every day, and a lot of the questions that you all tell me, that's how we brief him as well. You all ask me, that's how we brief him as well.
Yeah, but it was verbatim. It wasn't like this person from the LA Times might ask about. It was so-and-so LA Times, Mr. President, what do you think about yada, yada, yada. All of these things are scripted events with Joe Biden because the man cannot think on his feet. He can't answer a question without being prompted. Hey, Charlie, if Donald Trump was in office, none of this would be happening. You're right. None of it. None of it. China would be over there behaving themselves. Russia would be over here behaving themselves. Iran would be over here behaving themselves. North Korea would be behaving themselves. They all would be behaving themselves. But now, the teachers left the room, and they got the substitute in, and everybody's showing their rear ends. We'll be right back. This is the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
High atop Hogback Mountain.
We're covering the Carolinas like never before with 100,000 watts of power. It's the right talk.
Charlie?
Welcome. This is the Charlie James Show.
Now we're talking.
News Talk 98.9.
WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Well, this is pretty interesting. I guess you can just chalk this up to more Let's Go Brandon. Somebody said they just got confirmation that Greer CVS pharmacists have said they're no longer receiving any ADHD medication. And this is several texts that I've gotten about this today. What is going on with the ADHD medication in this country? Well, I looked it up, and according to the Food and Drug Administration, the spike in demand coupled with intermittent manufacturing delays have created a national shortage. In August of 2022, almost 2/3 of respondents said they were having trouble securing their Adderall. That was August of 2022. We're in April of 2023. Why is there still a shortage? Alvogen and Teva, I guess, have reported to the FDA that demand increases are behind the shortages, while Epic Pharma and U.S. Pharma Windlass, a new manufacturer, have reported a shortage of the active ingredient Aurobindo. Pharma and Spec GS, they are predicting supply issues through this month, according to the shortage database. So, again, it's just another thing that you can just chalk up to Joe Biden. Oh, no, we've got supply chain issues. And this is the guy that gets in front of the cameras and says, you know, a couple of years ago, you people didn't know what the supply chain was. You're not smart enough to know about the supply chain. So, anyway, there you go. We got that happening with Brandon. Good job. Good job. GS Plumbing Talk Line, 800-905-0989. The Common Sense Retirement Planning text line, 71307. Nikki Haley. Now, remember, Ron DeSantis still has, by the way, the Florida legislature has now, there was a rule in Florida that, let's say you were the Attorney General of Florida, and you were going to run for the Senate as a senator from Florida, you would have to vacate your role as Attorney General. Once you announce you're running for this office, you cannot serve in that office. That was the thing. Well, apparently they have changed the law now down in Florida, and it looks like Ron DeSantis has got the all clear to run for president by the state legislature. Again, I don't know if he needs it, but there you go. So could we be seeing an announcement, and it's just more and more of this kind of piling on top of each other, could we be seeing an announcement by Ron DeSantis very soon? I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. So, it's going to be interesting. So, DeSantis signed a bill revoking Disney's self-governing power. And Nikki Haley came out the other day and basically so you can't really put it any other way. She sided with Disney. She's like, hey, Disney, if you want to bring your 70,000 jobs, to South Carolina, I would be glad to introduce you to the governor and our state legislature, who would be glad to have you here. Again, taking the side of Disney and all of their woke ideology. That's what Nikki Haley did. That's her. She did say something today that I found to be quite funny. This is from NBC. Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley said Wednesday, that's yesterday, that President Joe Biden will likely die within 5 years and that his supporters would have to count on Vice President Kamala Harris if he were to win re-election next year. She said he announced that he's running again in 2024. And I think that we can all be very clear and say, with a matter of fact, that if you vote for Joe Biden, you're really counting on a President Harris, because the idea that he would make it until 86 years old is not something that I think is likely, she said. So Biden officially announced his re-election campaign on Tuesday with a video, of course, that takes shot at MAGA Republicans. Haley has framed her presidential bid around a new generation of leadership. In a speech launching her campaign, she suggested that politicians over the age of 75 be required to take a mental competency test, a proposal that First Lady Jill Biden slammed as ridiculous. So I cannot wait to see how the mainstream media reacts to Nikki Haley basically saying Joe Biden's a dead man walking. Yeah, it's just a matter of time before he's no longer with us, and you're actually going to be looking at President Kamala Harris. There you go. That's going to be. Oh my goodness. Meanwhile, President Trump has made a major announcement. Listen to this.
This is going to be a major announcement. Are you ready? Is everybody ready? I will be retiring the name Crooked from Hillary Clinton and her moniker. And I'm going to give her a new name. I don't know, like maybe Lovely Hillary or Beautiful Hillary. But I'm going to retire the name Crooked so that we can use the name for Joe Biden, because he'll be known from now on as Crooked Joe Biden. Oh my God. You would think that Hillary would be very happy today. She's out there someplace celebrating. Because there's never been anyone in the history of American politics so crooked or dishonest as Joe Biden.
That's right. He's exactly right. God, don't you miss that guy? Don't you miss him? I do every single day. I miss Donald Trump every single day. Absolutely hilarious. So no more Crooked Hillary. It's now going to be Crooked Joe Biden. Yeah, Charlie, Nikki pulled a Don Lemon and called Joe past his prime. Didn't she, though? We'll be right back. This is the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
207.
It's the Charlie James Show.
Talk 98.9.
WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
So Ryan is watching the stream over on Facebook, and he wants to know how you can listen other than streaming on Facebook. Well, if you want to do the streaming route, you can go Facebook, you can go Twitter, you can go Rumble, you can go YouTube. We got that up and running, right, Tim? Yes. Also, you can listen to us on your radio at 98.9 FM and also the Odyssey app. All of those are many, 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 many ways to check out the program. So Joe Biden, we all know that has done such a great job with our economy. This is a guy, remember when he went over to Ireland? Remember when he went over to Ireland and said, I don't want to go home. I'm staying. I'm not going home. I want to be Irish. He was asked a question at the White House today by one of the kids. Let's take a listen to this.
The last country I've traveled, I'm thinking what's the last one I was in. I've been to 89. Met with 89 heads of state so far.
Yeah.
So
what was it?
Where was the last place I was? It's
You were
hard to
just
keep track.
there. You were just there.
I mean, yeah, you're right. Ireland.
Ireland, that's right. The kid remembered, and he didn't. This is a guy that was over in Ireland talking about he didn't want to leave. He didn't want to come back. It was a great trip. It was a family trip. Hunter Biden was there. All of the Bidens were on Air Force One heading over to Ireland. And it wasn't that long ago, Joe. Probably still got a few shamrocks in one of your suit pockets. This guy couldn't even remember where he was. I don't want to go home. I'm staying. Wish you hadda. Wish you had stayed. Remember when Joe Biden was telling us, remember the bank issue? Remember that? Oh, yeah, all of that's gone. Everything's fine with the banks, right? Everything's good. The banking crisis is going A-okay. Maybe not. Maybe not. Michael Schneider over at Discern Report writes, one of the largest banks in the U.S. is on the verge of going under. He says, our system was greatly shaken when Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank suddenly collapsed, but we seem to have weathered that storm. But will it happen if an even larger bank goes under? As of March 31st, First Republic Bank had approximately $290 billion in assets, and that makes it much larger than Silicon Valley Bank. And when it finally imploded, a $30 billion rescue plan that was hastily put together last month was supposed to stabilize First Republic, but it hasn't happened. On Tuesday, First Republic shares fell about 50% after the public learned that customers withdrew more than $100 billion during last month's crisis. First Republic Bank shares dropped 50% after troubling's earning call, where the company executives refused to answer questions. The stock dropped on Tuesday after it emerged that customers withdrew, like I said, $100 billion during last month's crisis, with fears swirling that it could be the third bank to fail in quick succession after the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank. Unfortunately, for First Republic, the carnage continued into yesterday. Shares for First Republic were down another 29.75%, and so far this year, the stock prices have fallen by 95%. So as of February the 2nd, First Republic stock closed at $147. Today, it closed at $5.69. $5.69. Oh, my word. Now, it did have a little bit of a bump. Closed at $6.19 today. But this is pretty darn huge. I mean, more than huge, it's unbelievable. And Joe Biden and his administration, they were the ones that said they had this whole thing figured out. No, it's working itself out. Working itself out. They're going to say the reason why this is happening is because customers have been pulling their money out of First Republic at a pace that is staggering. In fact, it is being reported that First Republic lost 40% of their total deposits in the first quarter alone. Whoa. And if 11 of the largest banks in the country had not agreed to collectively deposit $30 billion of their own money in First Republic last month, that figure would have been more like 50% instead of the 40%. So the rescue plan wasn't large enough. So now First Republic is looking like it's going to beg those banks for even more help. Good gracious. Now, remember, it was Mr. Wonderful, isn't it, Kevin O'Leary? He's the guy that said, hey, who needs regional banks? He said this on Tucker Carlson's show, by the way.
99% of banking today is done online. There's a whole generation of people post-pandemic who have never been in a branch in a regional bank or any bank for that matter. And so the question becomes now, and the narrative's quickly looking at this because of all these failures, what do we need tiny regional banks for in the first place?
Yeah, what do we need them for in the first place? Let them fail. Let them fail so the big banks can come along and take over, and we can concentrate all of America's wealth into 5 banks. How do you think that's going to work out?
You got to call her.
How do you think that's going to work out? Unbelievable. Let's go to 696 in Spartanburg and talk to them. 696, welcome to the program. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Wonderful. What's up?
Well, I wanted to talk to you about the market. I mean, I keep up with it fairly close, but I want to also make sure that I don't say certain things on the air to scare people. I know it's kind of a tricky subject, but I guess just aligning with what you're saying, a lot of these smaller banks are working with small business.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the Russell 3000, which is 98% of our economy, it's small business. A lot of them are reliant on these banks. And if these banks are not operating well, they're not providing back to these small businesses that almost sometimes need these loans to continue operating. So it's not just the stress of the small bank, it's the small business.
Yeah.
And then if you look at the market today on the earnings, it seems like the market is doing quite well, but on the breadth of the market, which shows how much of the market is contributed by the number of stocks or different businesses, it's only just a few, like the top 10, that are holding up the market right now. And everybody's moving from these, I would not say necessarily failing businesses, but struggling businesses, and moving to what are the sure plays, the big business, and kind of finding ways to put their money back into the market. So, I mean, don't take your money out of the stock market. I want to say that. Don't take your money out. Leave it where it's at. But don't be surprised if, we can continue to see the struggles. And then in May, when the Fed wants to go up another quarter point, which is still possible, I mean, what does that mean? It's more stress on the market. And I don't feel like we're aligned at all with what's going on, and no one's telling the truth. It's kind of like, here's the curtain, and then the curtain opens, and it's like a scene from The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Don't pay attention. Yeah. So
let me ask you this question. 696, let me ask you a question. Would it shock people to know just how fragile our economic system is?
I think the people that are paying attention already know, and the people that aren't paying attention are probably not going to care unless it hits their bank account. So I would say nothing changes over time. It's still always the same it's always been. It's going to go up and down. And the people that are paying attention, you have levels of people that are prepared and levels of people that are not. I would say I'm fairly prepared and even willing to see the value of my stocks and investments go down, but only because I would take the opportunity to buy while they're down, but also accept that it will at some point go back up.
But in the meanwhile, when that happens, people lose jobs.
Correct. And that's a sad part. Just like I said, I tried to text you earlier. The only reason these large businesses are successful right now on their earnings is because late last year, remember, they were firing tens of thousands of people. And if you average that each person was only, say, making $50,000 a year, multiply that times 10,000, and you have an earnings segment right there that makes their EBITDA on the mark for their target. So the only reason right now that they're successful in their earnings is only because they laid off they got rid of the fat. They got rid of their highest expense. Now, the next earnings season, when we come into Q2, you can only lay off so many people before your business can't operate. So now there's the next question. How far is this going to go to where we start to struggle in the market, where these businesses don't have any more places to cut? Then we start seeing the earnings compression. Then we start seeing the market really starting to react. So, yeah, we're at a tight spot. I wish the Fed would just stop and sit back and let the market recover. I think everybody needs to get over the fact that the government has spent way too much money.
Yeah.
And we're going to struggle. We're going to struggle.
Well, Jerome Powell, I appreciate it. 696, I appreciate it. I got to hit a break here in just a second. So Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell was tricked in a phone call with Russian pranksters posing as Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, during which Powell appeared to discuss the economic impact of interest rate hikes. And he said there's going to be more rate hikes to come. We'll be right back. This is the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
98.9 W.
Let your voice be heard. Call the GS Plumbing Talk Line now. 800-905-0989. Save it on your phone. That's 800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show, only on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
I had no idea that Whoopi Goldberg was a biblical scholar. Tim, this is the first I'm hearing about it. Whoopi Goldberg is a biblical scholar.
Oh, really?
Yes. She has done her research.
Well, I can't wait to hear this.
Oh, boy, I'm telling you what. She has found things in the Bible I never knew were there. Let's just take a listen. Let's just take a listen to what Whoopi Goldberg says is in the Bible.
It's why women are running. It's why gay folks are running, because people want to be represented. We're all Americans. We all pay taxes. And the day you decide that certain people don't have to pay taxes, I want you to say it out loud. Yeah. I want you to say, all of you others, you don't have to pay taxes. You don't have to take care of us. Well, we may have a meeting. Let's decide. All the women get together and decide how they feel about it. But my God, this is a party that says we believe in parents' rights. Mm-hmm. You're telling me that as a parent, I'm not smart enough to decide if my child and I need to have gender affirming. Our doctors are not involved. What is going? So I can't decide what my kid reads. I can't decide for my child what my child says is going on. Yep. You're telling me your beliefs, and they keep saying it, and I keep saying, what Bible are you reading? Yeah. Because God was really clear.
Very clear. Very clear. Oh, well, I was just going to say really quickly.
God in the Bible was clear that he wants gender affirming care for underage kids. He's clear about that. It's there. I don't know which book it's in.
That's what I was about to say. Which book is that in?
Was it Paul that wrote that? Was it? I don't know. I don't know. Was it John? Maybe John did it. I don't know. But somewhere in the Bible, Whoopi Goldberg has found a quote that says God is clear that he wants gender affirming care for underage kids.
She should go back and read what Elijah has to say about that.
Yeah, maybe so. I don't even know if she would know who Elijah was.
Probably not.
But there you go. Just making stuff up. Now Whoopi, here's the thing that Whoopi doesn't understand. Whoopi, if you want to, does Whoopi have kids?
I thought she did.
I just had a visual. Sorry, don't. You teach your kids anything you want. You go right ahead. Do you want to give your kids gender affirming care? You go right ahead. But stop pushing it on everybody else. It's bad enough that you're pushing it on your own kids. Stop pushing it on everybody else's kids. Just like that incredible list of books that I read to you a little while ago from HarperCollins that are targeted to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-year-old children about gender identity. That's what people are having a problem with. You want to dress your young boy up as a girl? You screw your kid up all you want to. Stop trying to screw up everybody else's kids. That's what I'm talking about. You want to go buy those books? Jump on Amazon. Click, click, click. If you got Amazon Prime, you might get it in 2 days. Go right ahead. Nobody cares. But stop trying to put those books in the libraries. Stop trying to put those books at eye level where these kids can see them. And stop. You know what? They got really upset. Oh, they were livid. Because Camel Cigarettes had Joe Camel as their spokesperson, I guess, whatever it was. It was a cartoon. Joe Camel. And because kids, it might entice kids to smoke, Camel cigarettes had to do away with Joe Camel. But you can certainly put a transgender hamster, cute little transgender hamster, right there on the book, and that's okay. Nobody cares, Whoopi, what you do with your own kids. You go right ahead. Mess them up as much as you want to. The society will have to take care of them later, but, you know, you do you. But leave everybody else's kids alone. Teachers, you know what? Pink Floyd was right. Hey, teacher, leave those kids alone. Leave them alone. Started the show off today telling you about this family just outside of Anderson. Their daughter wanted to transition to a boy. Their daughter started wearing chest binders. And when the family was like, hey, what's going on here? The girl left home. In effect, she ran away. And she went to live. Well, the reason she was transitioning is because she had been talking to somebody about it at school. Talking with them about it at school. So then the kid runs away. Find out she's staying with the family of one of her teachers. Her teacher is enabling this child, and that's what she is, to run away. Wonder where she got that idea. Could it be from somebody like Jeffrey Marsh? Could it be from some of these folks? Jeffrey Marsh, who says, let them lose you?
I hope you need to hear this today. Let them lose you. They have had enough chances to have a beautiful, brilliant, sparkling, giving person like you in their lives. Let them lose you.
Let them lose you. I'll be your family. And teachers, and I'm pretty sure this isn't the first teacher that's done this, over in, I think it was it Anderson School District 2? I'll pull this story up here in just a second and double check that, but I think I'm right about that. So this family, the Reeds, Gil Reed and his wife, they're going through a living hell. Because not only did they not know where their daughter was, they were being prevented from finding her. Law enforcement wouldn't help. Department of Social Services wouldn't help. In fact, the Department of Social Services tried to accuse them of neglect. That's how bad it's gotten. That is exactly where we are right now. And there's a bill in our House that would stop all this mess, but for some reason, it's hung up in the House Judiciary Committee, and it hasn't made it out to the floor. Rural South Carolina. It is right here in our backyard, folks. Right here in our backyard. And our state legislature, they got to stand up. They got to stand up. You want to talk about protecting kids? If you're not protecting kids, what are you doing in office? What are you doing in office? We'll be right back. This is the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
98.9
WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
So just perfect example of how ridiculous we have gotten. Not only is, Whoopi Goldberg saying that in the Bible, God could not be more clear that he wants gender affirming care. Pretty sure it's quite the opposite. But anyway, over in London, they had the London Marathon. All right. This was this past Sunday. London Marathon. There was a trans runner, Glenique Frank, 52 years old. This is a man who decided he was going to put on a sports bra, pair of women's leggings, and go run the London Marathon. Frank beat 14,000 actual women. 14,000. Now, back in November of last year, Frank entered the New York City Marathon and ran as a man. This past weekend in the London Marathon, he ran as a woman. He's competed in 17 marathons and plans to run on many more, but it's unclear which sex he's going to run as. Girl power, he shouted during an interview, showing off his muscular physique. During the interview with the BBC reporter, Frank was very excited about the news of his beautiful son expecting a child. Oh, that's lovely. According to Olympic marathoner Mara Yamochi, males in the female category is unfair for females, she said in a tweet. This male ran in yesterday's London Marathon as Glenique Frank in the female category, finishing in 6,160th place out of 20,123. So nearly 14,000 actual females suffered a worse finish position than him. She said and reiterated when she said she ranked second in the world as a biological woman. At least 1,300 men ran faster than her. Now, UK athletics have adopted the World Athletics rules on the ability for a transgender woman to compete in elite competitions, which would make it fair for athletes who have gone through male puberty, but excluded from the female category in athletics. For the people who have already entered the races before the ruling, they were allowed to compete. In the interview with The Telegraph, Yamuchi said, this male competed under UK athletics transitional arrangements, but it's still wrong and it's unfair. You're exactly right. Exactly right. So this guy, mediocre guy, decides he wants to have a shot at winning a ribbon or a medal, identifies as a woman, goes in and beats 14,000 of them. And for some reason, that's okay. That's okay. And when you complain about it, when you talk about it, even if you mention it, you're the one that's got a problem. You're the one that has the issue. Because according to Whoopi Goldberg, this is God's will. Oh, my word. Oh, my word. I don't know where it stops. I really don't. But if our state legislature doesn't start doing something about this, what good are you? If you've got that parental rights bill that is before you and you're sitting on it doing nothing, then that can only mean one thing. You don't want to do anything about it. You don't want to protect kids. You want all of this grooming going on. You want all of this stuff that is happening in our schools. That's what you're saying. That's what you're telling all of us. And all of you members in the House Judiciary Committee, shame on you. Shame on you for letting this bill just sit there and you doing nothing about it. You are the people that are allowing bad things to happen. You're the ones. The finger is pointed at you. What are you going to do about it? Anything? Probably not. We'll be right back. This is the Charlie James Show, News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
like never before with 100,000 watts of power. It's the right talk.
Charlie?
Welcome. This is the Charlie James Show.
Now we're talking.
News Talk 98.9.
WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
All right, Tim, let's play a little game. We're going to play a little game here. I want you to imagine somebody that works in the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service. I want you just to imagine, what are they doing?
Somebody that works in the IRS?
Somebody that works in the IRS. What are they doing?
Stealing our money?
No, I mean, just think about it. They're at work. What are they doing?
I don't know. Calling people, sitting on a computer.
Okay, sitting on a computer. Ticky-tack. Maybe making some phone calls.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
What are they wearing?
Suit and tie.
They got a suit and tie on.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe they've even wanted to get a little relaxed, and they took their suit jacket off, and they're just there in their shirt sleeves with their tie. Maybe their tie is slightly askew because they're just pouring over these numbers left and right. Okay. That's pretty much what everybody would say. Like, see, I picture a guy. I picture a guy in a white shirt, a skinny black tie, black pants, white socks, and black lace-up shoes with really big black framed glasses with maybe some tape on them because they broke up, you see. And anyway, so and maybe even a pocket protector, right? Because they got their pins in the pocket protector.
I see. I always think of, have you ever seen the movie For Richer or Poor?
No.
Well, it's a Tim Allen movie, but the IRS is chasing him in that, and that's who I picture when I see IRS.
They're chasing him.
Yeah.
Aha. Well, that brings us to this. Would you ever imagine an IRS agent in all black with wearing body armor, carrying a sidearm? Could you? No, it's not. But it is now. So if you're looking for a new job, they are hiring. The IRS is hiring special agents right now. This is according to jobs.irs.gov. Who are we? Criminal Investigation, CI, is the law enforcement branch of the IRS. Our mission is to serve the American public by investigating potential criminal violations of the Internal Revenue Code and related financial crimes in a manner that fosters confidence in the tax system and compliance with the law. I can't wait. Probably coming up in September.
Cool, more letters.
You're going to see the television show CI. Dun, dun, dun. It's Greenville, CI. As a special agent, you will combine your accounting skills with law enforcement skills to investigate financial crimes. Special agents are duly sworn law enforcement officers who are trained to follow the money, no matter what the source. This ought to scare you right here. No matter what the source, all income earned, both legal and illegal, has the potential of becoming involved in crimes which fall within the investigative jurisdiction of the IRS criminal investigation. Because of the expertise required to conduct these complex financial investigations, IRS special agents are considered the premier financial investigators for the federal government. Ooh, they're a haughty bunch. Oh, boy. That's right. No more black-framed glasses for these people. Criminal investigation special units are part of a diverse workforce that mirrors the tax-paying public we serve. To learn more, visit our criminal investigation page or read our 2021 annual report. Your key requirements: you must be a U.S. citizen. You must be 21 years of age by the time you complete the training at the academy, and no older than 37 at the age of appointment. You must qualify based on education, specialized experience, or a combination of two. You must possess a valid driver's license, pass a background and criminal history check, pass a pre-employment medical exam, pass a pre-employment drug test, pass a pre-employment tax examination, and be legally allowed to carry a firearm. Bum, bum, bum. Major duties include carrying a firearm. You must be prepared to protect yourself or others from physical attacks at any time without warning, and use firearms in life-threatening situations. You must be willing to use force up to and including the use of deadly force. Bum, bum, boom. What happened to Earl? IRS agent took him out. Yep, 2 shots right to the chest. Double tapped him right there on the front porch. Can't believe it. Yeah. So there you go.
Rest in peace, Earl.
Rest in peace, Earl, man. You shouldn't have messed with the IRS. So now they've got their special investigation unit. Oh boy, I'm scared. I'm scared of these people. So no longer sending you nasty letters or garnishing your wages. Now they're going to come at the point of a gun. Just think about that for a second. Think about when they said all income earned, both legal and illegal, has the potential of becoming involved in crimes.
So they're just going to come in and just knock on doors and arrest you for, like, that's,
I don't know.
That's ridiculous.
Armed IRS agents.
Mm.
And in fact, what we're hearing is there are armed IRS agents in almost every city in the United States. Every single one of them. IRS agents with firearms. Whew. That's pretty scary.
That's a scary thought.
It's scary stuff to me. It really, really is. Because I just, you're just sitting there going, what in the world are they planning? What is next? That they would have to have. And by the way, the IRS actually is the IRS, listen to this, owns more ammunition and firearms than the Department of Homeland Security. Let that sink in for a minute. That's pretty amazing. Speaking of the Department of Homeland Security, Brownsville, Texas is now once again under siege. We'll tell you all about that coming up next. This is the Charlie James Show, News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Alejandro Mayorkas, Homeland Security. He wants you to know something, ladies and gentlemen, and he wants to be clear about it.
Let me be clear. Our border is not open and will not be open after May 11th.
Okay. Our border is not open and will not be open after May 11th. You can prove that this is a lie just by going down to Brownsville, Texas. Brownsville, Texas, thousands of illegal aliens have poured into the Texas city of Brownsville in the past few days as the U.S. border comes under heavy assault just weeks before the expected end of the Title 42 restrictions. 5,000 immigrants have been apprehended by local and federal authorities in the city so far, with no sign of the investigation letting up, that according to Border Report. On Monday, Border Patrol's Rio Grande Valley sector chief Gloria Chavez announced that more than 1,600 illegal aliens have been encountered in a 24-hour period by agents in Brownsville. On Tuesday, 2,300 illegal crossings were registered in the sector, most of that being a large groups crossing the river into Brownsville. Also on Tuesday, Todd Bensman from the Center of Immigration Studies published exclusive footage of mobs of illegal aliens flowing into Brownsville. But let Mayorkas be clear, our border is not open. Bensman said, I just reported scenes like this in El Paso across from Juarez, now Brownsville across from Matamoros. They're blowing off Biden government's reservation app scheme for entry and winning. Many at McAllen bus station released and freed. The Brownsville sector, and that's what's it. When they encounter these 5,000 people coming across our border, what happens to them? Do they go back? No. Do they go to jail? No. They're released. Bensman goes on to say, the Brownsville, Texas border right now, local reporter says that this is the third day straight of this. I'm seeing their papers at the McAllen bus station. Biden government letting many of the Sunday ones into America, which would explain why these are here now. A woman called Anel Castillo, who said she's a local resident, shared additional photos and videos showing the ongoing chaos in Brownsville. Large numbers of illegal immigrants, illegal aliens, are reportedly strolling the streets of Brownsville, riding public buses, seeking ways to travel deeper into the United States. The Title 42, which is an emergency policy imposed by the Trump administration during COVID, is set to expire on May the 11th. It's absolute insanity going on there right now. And Mayorkas will sit there in front of Congress. He will go on, behind the podium, and he will lie to your face. The Biden administration could care less. They don't care. They want him here because they got their little phone, got their little apps, and they're throwing them in the trash can just as soon as they're handed to them because they know they're going to be tracked. And then they're off into the wind, never to be seen or heard from again. That's what's going on. And that's what they will lie to you about. Good grief. How much longer are we going to, let me just get my little thing here. I got a little sheet here that tells us how much, and these are, I can't remember the year of these numbers, but this is the total number of illegal aliens in the United States. This is a couple of years old, so it's probably more than this. Here in South Carolina, this is illegal aliens, 109,000. I believe it's a lot more. Total number of illegal aliens, including the children of illegal aliens, 146,000. Total cost per alien to state taxpayers, $4,924 per illegal alien. Total cost of illegal aliens to taxpayers here in South Carolina, $536,754. Total cost of illegal immigrants to taxpayers, including children of aliens, listen to this, here in South Carolina, $718,955,000. It cost the taxpayers of South Carolina $718 million for 146,000 illegal aliens. Whoa! Think about that. Just how much is going, but they don't care. They could care less. I'm sorry, they couldn't care less. Hey, Charlie, illegal alien numbers always lowballed. Of course they are. Of course they are. Charlie, just heard sometime today, over 6 million, the full population of Texas. Charlie, I lived in Brownsville from 92 to 97. I am so glad that I'm not living there now. Oh, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. No place to be, Brownsville, Texas. In fact, any of our border towns are no place to be under the Biden administration. Trump had this figured out. And if people like John McCain hadn't come along and sabotaged him and literally stabbed him in the back, we wouldn't have to be worrying about this because we would have a big, beautiful wall built. And that would make it harder for these people to get there, to get through. Charlie, it's like you always say, it's because the politicians want it this way. You're right. Why aren't they doing something about the border? They don't want to. They don't want to. Hey, Charlie, you remember at the beginning of his term, Biden said that the borders will be open. We will become you're right. We will become a minority, and this is a good thing. That's right. Oh, yeah, I do remember that. Absolutely. Remember the T-shirts that they were these immigrants were wearing that said Biden invited us? Yeah. It's open. Don't act like it's not. They don't want you to think it is. They don't want you to think it's open, but it is wide open. Charlie, now we know where our tax money goes, to the illegals in the state. You're exactly right. Exactly right. That's what just nobody's going to do anything about it. I mean, you even got Charleston County, their sheriff down there, Graziano. She has said that Charleston County is without saying it, she said it, that they're a sanctuary county. They're not going to be sending anybody back. They're not going to be deporting anybody. They're not going to be detaining anybody for ICE. They're not going to be doing that. That's here in South Carolina. So why wouldn't these people come? I mean, they get free everything. I just saw a meme that says, hey, if you want a really good retirement plan, what you need to do is go on a trip to Mexico, destroy all of your documentation, everything, passports, birth certificate, driver's license, and then sneak in illegally, and you'll be set for life. Exactly right. Charlie, sometimes I wonder how we're going to wait to rise up, how long we're going to wait to rise up. Hashtag Tucker 2024. Charlie, can I identify as an illegal alien and get some of those benefits? Asking for a friend. Well, I don't see why not. Oh, and by the way, you know what they're telling? They're telling these people at the border to tell our Border Patrol agents? They're told to tell the agents that they're gay so that they'll let them in. Oh, man, that's too ridiculous not to be true. We'll be right back. This is the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
1307 on the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line.
Welcome to the Charlie James Show.
News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Nikki Haley inviting Disney to South Carolina.
And that's not productive.
Ambassador Haley, I want to ask you about what could be another Republican candidate in the field, and that is Ron DeSantis. We just learned a few moments ago that Disney is now suing the Florida governor for alleging political effort to hurt their business. We've all been watching this back and forth for quite some time. This is obviously dramatically escalating the feud between Disney and Ron DeSantis. They're alleging that the Republican governor has waged a, quote, relentless campaign to weaponize government power over the company. What is your reaction to that, as we still have yet to see him jump officially into the race?
You know, as governor, I took a double-digit unemployment state and I turned it into an economic powerhouse. Businesses were my partners, because if you take care of your businesses, you take care of your economy takes care of the people, and everyone wins. And so that's the way we dealt with it. South Carolina was a very anti-woke state. It still is. And if Disney would like to move their hundreds of thousands of jobs to South Carolina and bring the billions of dollars with them, I'll let them know. I'll be happy to meet them in South Carolina and introduce them to the governor and the legislature that would welcome it.
So that was Nikki Haley taking the side of Disney. All right. Disney, with all of their woke ideology, all of their gender ideology, all of their equity, diversity, equity, and inclusion, all of that stuff, all of their environmental, social, and governance score, all of those things that Disney has, Nikki Haley wants to bring those things to South Carolina. Well, that sounds like a lovely idea, doesn't it? Not really. Not really. So, Ron DeSantis has responded. Told you about all of that stuff. So after the news broke, Never Back Down PAC, which supports DeSantis, released a new video which mostly contains woke footage from Disney employees about their plans for grooming children. So I'm gonna play this for you. Let's just take a listen.
QIA characters in our stories.
My not at all secret gay agenda.
Canonical trans characters, canonical asexual characters, canonical bisexual characters.
I was just wherever I could, just basically adding queerness.
To give information about gender affirmation procedures.
The things that we believe that we're trying to put into the shows.
Targeting Gen Z and millennials.
Kids who are transitioning.
I'd like to shine a spotlight on a fellow queen who knows a thing or two about creating an epic Disney Plus inspired look.
If Disney would like to move their hundreds of thousands of jobs to South Carolina and bring the billions of dollars with them, I'll let them know. I'll be happy to meet them in South Carolina.
So Ron DeSantis, we all know that Trump was really good at assigning people nicknames. They've now assigned a new nickname to Nikki Haley. Mickey Haley. So they took a poll to see which name people liked most, Mickey Haley or Nikki Mouse. The latter was winning last time I checked. It might be Nikki Mouse. But the larger point is that woke grooming of children into the LGBT movement is so offensive. And that's the reason Governor Ron DeSantis is taking a look at the state's business arrangement with the Disney Corporation. So Nikki Haley can say that South Carolina isn't woke, but she would certainly be inviting it into our midst. Just take a listen to all of those things. That was it. That's what they want to groom kids. They want to put trans ideology everywhere they can and in everything that they can. That's what they want to do. They're passing that on to the kids, and it's working, because I told you not long ago that 25% of high school students now identify as gay, trans, lesbian, LGBTQ, anything but heterosexual. 25% of high school kids. And Disney is part of that. Disney is part of that huge push. Disney is, along with HarperCollins, the book publisher, all of these other books, local libraries, county librarians, they all want to force this on your children. And Mickey Haley, or Nikki Mouse, whichever one you want to use, she wants to bring them here. That sound like a good business move to you? More than that, does it sound like a good moral move? I mean, forget business for a minute. I know Nikki Haley said you take care of business first. I kind of like politicians that take care of people first, but I digress. So, morally, it's wrong. Morally, it is. Charlie, I didn't know old Nikki owns South Carolina. I think she thinks it. Well, she's down there in Kiowa. Down there in Kiowa. How about that? So, somebody says, "Oh my gosh, I think the rain might have stopped." Right? I got you. Hey, Charlie, great show. All I know is I've got my acreage and a mule. I support my republic and trust we'll figure it out. I hope we do. But Nikki Haley, Charlie, sounds like she's encouraging a mass exodus from South Carolina to somewhere else, maybe Florida. Charlie, Nikki Mouse is awesome. Sadly, the joke is that Haley represents our state. Ugh, I know. Nikki Haley should invite Warner Brothers instead because she is Looney Tunes. Bum. There you go. Hey, Charlie, how about Nikki mind her own business? How about that? Charlie, what gives Nikki the right to speak on behalf of South Carolina? Here's the thing, though. Unfortunately, I believe that she's not speaking for South Carolina, but I think she's speaking for the state legislature. I really do. I think if Disney was looking at coming to South Carolina, our state legislature would fall all over themselves. There would be new roads. There would be asphalt being poured. There would be concrete being poured. There would be all of this stuff going on. And money coming into the politicians here in South Carolina. Oh, yeah. You don't think they would sell you out? In a heartbeat. Had a really great text a few minutes ago that said Nikki Haley wants to bring in Disney to a state where we've got 2 nuclear power plants that were never built that we're still paying for, and a road to a stadium that was never built that we're still paying for. And you're exactly right. We'll be right back. This is the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show, only on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Have you guys been hearing about that whistleblower that was about to give testimony against the Biden crime family on international corruption? Have you heard about this? This is not going to surprise you. What I'm about to tell you is not going to shock you one little bit. He's gone missing. That's right. That's right. Dr. Gal Luft, the co-director of the Washington-based Institute for Analysis of Global Security, was going to give explosive information on the Biden family. Disappeared. Mysterious circumstances after a Larnaca court had released him on bail. That's right. Luft was an advisor for CEFC China Energy, which paid Hunter Biden around $5 million in 2017. Luft said he was arrested on bogus weapons trafficking charges back in January, claiming it was an attempt to silence him. He said, "I've been arrested in Cyprus on a politically motivated extradition request by the U.S. The U.S. claiming I'm an arms dealer. It would be funny if it weren't tragic. I've never been an arms dealer. Department of Justice is trying to bury me to protect Joe, Jim, and Hunter Biden. Shall I name names?" Tufts' lawyer said that he had given the FBI information during the Trump administration on the Bidens, which he planned to submit in a letter to Congress. He also learned that someone was selling sealed U.S. law enforcement information to Chinese individuals. Dr. Luft is a whistleblower, his attorney said. He asserts that prosecutors decided against pursuing Luft's information and are instead targeting him with trumped-up and false charges. This, unfortunately, appears to be part of an attempt to discredit a witness with critical information about an ongoing congressional and Department of Justice investigation. Dun, dun, dun. More mysterious circumstances, ladies and gentlemen, surrounding the Democrats. That's pretty wild, isn't it? So, there you go. Oh, by the way, the Republicans passed the debt limit bill that was put up by McCarthy. Only 4 Republicans, none of them from South Carolina, voted against this bill. None of them. Matt Gaetz was one of them. Let's see. Biggs voted against it. Buck voted against it. Burchett voted against it. Gaetz voted against it. Now, we will see. I mean, it's not going to pass the Senate because the Senate wants more spending. And what this would do would basically cut our spending back to 2002 levels. But still, they wanted to pass it. Shut it down. Shut it down. Really. The average American would be so much better off if you would just shut down the government. That would be a great thing. Okay, Tim, let me ask you a question. We've talked about a lot this afternoon, haven't we?
Yeah.
Great many things. What has stuck out in your mind the most about what we talked about today? What do you think?
The transgender stories.
Yeah. Yeah, the ones about the family, the Reeds over in Anderson.
Yep.
Whose daughter was transitioning to a boy and was found living with one of her teacher's family. That was a heartbreaking story.
That's terrible.
Especially finding out the way the Department of Social Services actually put them on the defensive, accusing them of neglect.
Yeah,
that's horrible.
As a parent, it's kind of infuriating.
Yeah, sure it is. I have reached out to the Reeds, and we're going to try to get them on the program to tell their side of the story, because maybe, just maybe, hearing them speak about this will get our lawmakers in Columbia to actually act on it. Because that Parental Protection Act or Parental Rights Bill that has been locked in the House Judiciary Committee, you got to get it out, get it voted on. You got to do something. Don't just let these things sit there. Don't let it sit there like constitutional carry is sitting there. Don't let it just sit there. But that's what they're doing. And the reason they're not doing anything about it is because what's always the answer? They don't want to. They don't want to do anything. So maybe if we could get some of these people to share their stories, like we had one caller earlier telling us his story about all of this, maybe our lawmakers will understand that this is something that is actually, it was Michael from Winsboro, that this is something that is actually affecting parents. And it's affecting kids. And it's ruining lives. So I don't know what it's going to take to get these folks in Columbia to do something. Charlie, how do I do? I will send that to you. 298 is wondering where they can find that story. It's on the Epic Times. You can find it at Epic Times, but I'll send you a direct link there, 298. Charlie, I'm really disappointed that Jeff Duncan voted for that bill, even though I'm one of the people who would suffer in a shutdown. We have to get spending down. Oh, absolutely, we do. They do. Charlie, there's no such thing as a debt ceiling. Apparently not. Because it just seems like, this country, economically, we're not in a good place. So what we're actually doing is we're raising our credit limit. Now, the last thing you want to do when you've got too much debt is go into more debt. And that's exactly what this debt ceiling does. It allows us to go into more debt that we are never going to be able to pay back. Never. Not just us, your kids and your grandkids and their kids aren't going to be able to pay this back. It's just too much money. But hey, Jim Clyburn said we don't have to pay it back. Don't worry. There's no such thing as national debt. Woo! What a guy. What a guy. Charlie, there's no such, let's see, Charlie, our government, China owns our government now, Charlie. Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's exactly what they're doing. They just passed a bill in Congress that allows us to go into more debt to China, which is exactly what the Democrats want. Mark Levin's coming up next. He's got a great show planned for you. I've enjoyed you guys this afternoon. Be sure to tune in right back here tomorrow. We'll have a lot more to talk about. Y'all have it'll be Friday. Yes. You guys have a great night. As always, we love you. God bless. Buckle up. Bye, y'all.